Imagine this. What if we could design a weight loss drug that was incredibly powerful, but didn't have any of the horrible side effects? Well, today we're going to dive into how a computer algorithm might have just cracked that exact problem.
This is pretty much the holy grail for obesity treatment. The drugs we have now can work wonders, but those side effects, constant nausea, it can be absolutely brutal. So this is the story of the search for a much, much better way. So right now, the most effective drugs, things like GLP-1 agonists, they really do help people lose weight, but they come with this huge catch, a feeling of sickness that can make sticking with the treatment almost impossible. That got a team of scientists thinking. Could there be another molecule out there, a hidden one, that gives you all the weight loss without making you feel awful?
And to find that molecule, they didn't just look at the usual suspects. Nope, they decided to dive deep into this vast, kind of hidden molecular universe that exists right inside our own bodies.
Their search zeroed in on something called peptides. Now, what are those? Well, think of them as tiny little messengers, fragments of proteins that are constantly sending signals around our body, controlling pretty much everything from our metabolism to how hungry we feel.
And here's the really wild part. Scientists think there are thousands of these peptides that we have never, ever seen before. It's this enormous, uncharted territory right inside of us. Trying to find one specific peptide with the right effect is like trying to find a needle in a haystack the size of a planet.
So, how in the world do you search an undiscovered universe? You don't do it by hand. You build a probe, or in this case, you build a really powerful algorithm designed to map this unknown territory for you. They call their tool Peptide Predictor. And it's brilliant, really. It scans all the proteins our cells spit out, and it looks for these very specific cut marks, places where a particular enzyme chops up a protein. And by finding those cut marks, it can predict what new, hidden peptides are being created. It's like finding a treasure map written in our own biology.
So you can see the basic idea right here. The algorithm starts with this massive pool of over 2,000 proteins, and it just sifts through them, filtering them down and down based on these very specific rules. It's like a giant digital funnel, taking the sea of biological data and shrinking it down to a manageable list of prime candidates.
And the result? Just wow. The algorithm spat out a list of over 2,600 new human peptides. In one fell swoop, it basically mapped a huge chunk of that hidden biological universe we were talking about.
Okay, so a map with thousands of new places to look is amazing, but it's not the end of the story. You still need to figure out which one of those locations actually holds the treasure. So the next crucial step was to sift through these digital predictions to find a real molecule that actually did something.
The team took 100 of the most promising candidates from the computer's list and tested them in the lab. And well, one of them, a peptide they named BRP, lit up like a firework. It sent a biological signal that was more than 10 times stronger than any of the others. That was it. That was their aha moment. They had found their golden peptide. So, BRP looked fantastic in a petri dish. But that's the easy part, right? The real question, the one that really matters, is this. Would it actually work in a living, breathing animal? And the answer was a resounding yes. The results were immediate, and they were dramatic. You can see here, mice that were given BRP ate way less food than the mice that didn't get it. It was clearly a very powerful appetite suppressant. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. Over 2 weeks, obese mice that got BRP every day showed this sharp, sustained drop in body weight. Look at that graph. It was actually reversing their obesity. The difference is just so clear. The physical change on the outside is obvious, right? But the real magic was happening on the inside. When they looked at the tissues, the mice treated with BRP had healthier fat cells and much healthier livers. This wasn't just about shedding pounds, it was about improving their metabolic health from the inside out. Okay, so we've established that BRP is powerful. It absolutely works. But this brings us all the way back to the original, critical question. Does this computer-designed peptide also cause that same awful nausea and aversion that makes other weight loss drugs so hard to take? And this is where BRP really shines. The answer is no. In special tests designed to see if animals feel sick, BRP showed basically no signs of causing that aversion. They got all the appetite suppression with none of the nasty side effects. It's the best of both worlds. You don't have to take my word for it. The researchers themselves summed it up perfectly. They said it, quote, reduces food intake and exhibits anti-obesity effects in mice and pigs without inducing nausea or aversion. I mean, that's it. That's the breakthrough they were searching for. And just to be sure this wasn't some fluke in mice, they repeated the tests in mini pigs, whose metabolism is a lot more like ours. The result? Same story. BRP cut their food intake by 50%, and there were no signs of stress or anxiety. This discovery was the real deal. So obviously, this is incredible news for BRP as a potential drug. But the impact of this research is actually much, much bigger than just this one single molecule. What we're really looking at here is a double breakthrough. First, you've got BRP, which is a super promising new candidate to fight obesity. But second, and maybe even more importantly, you've got the peptide predictor tool itself, a powerful new way to find countless other hidden medicines for all kinds of diseases. This is just a stunning example of how computers can completely supercharge biological discovery. BRP is just the beginning. The really big question now is, has an algorithm just handed us the key to a whole new era of medicine?